Hmm. So, as we understand, this master leaves all the rites, rituals, and practices. So, the main thing that if I know the real self, it brings an end to the suffering. And we discussed, I think you remember, you all remember. Even if you don't remember, it's okay. So, we are not a waker, we are not a sleeper, and we are not a dreamer. So he proved it that there is something behind all these three states that continues for days, weeks, months, years, and we are that real self. In the last couple of sessions, we understood that real self is of the nature of ECB, existence, consciousness, and bliss. Existence, consciousness, and bliss. So we have intellectually understood. So I will explain the four verses written by this master that blows our mind. And if we contemplate and reflect on those four verses, we are there. So now see that we understood that we are existence, consciousness, bliss. Who understands the intellect? Oh, if I'm consciousness and bliss and ultimate happiness, then I need not to do anything. I need to do the things that is preventing me to realize that state of real self. So the introduction of the four verses is quite interesting and deeper. Deeper does not mean that we need an IQ. We need a common sense. It is very clear in the last couple of sessions, we understood that all happiness comes from the real self. Are you not happy now with me? Say yes. So that is illusion. That is illusion. You see that? So we are going little deeper. It is imagined that this beer guy, listening to him gives you the happiness. It is imagined. First thing, I'm laying a foundation, and then we'll go to these four verses. Such a beautiful verse. The more you contemplate, you are absorbed within. So you see that in this situation, that you are happy with me, possibly. I will not say you are always happy with me, but even if you are happy with me, that means the mind is preventing to realize the locus of happiness. Are you getting it? I lost the locus of happiness. No, 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 I'm happy with you, that's what. No, I'm happy with the honey, I'm happy with the son, I like you. We have lots of things. So two things are happening. One is that this mind still goes for the world of objects, people, and things to experience happiness. And other thing, that experience of pleasure in the world outside is hiding the real self. Two things are. So how he explains this, no worries, even if you do not understand. So you have to listen to it again and again. So in the verse number 11, he says, now pay attention. He says, if the happiness is not known, then there cannot be the highest love. So where there is love, there is going to be happiness. If happiness is known, if happiness is known inside, means if the real self, I now realize the real self, that real self is known, will you be attracted to anything outside? Will you be attached to anything outside? Our behavior, our attitude, everything changes. If happiness is known, where the happiness is known? As a real self. Now we have to go deeper, because how long we are going to talk of waker and dreamer and sleeper, we have already understood that. Now, if we experience the other happiness, if we experience the happiness which is not of the real self, then I am suffering from ignorance. I don't know happiness at present. Clear? So where our mind is looking for happiness in attachment, in pleasure seeker, I instantly become a pleasure seeker. And we become pleasure seeker 1,000,000 times every day. We don't realize that. You're going to the restroom, you're taking a shower. Oh, that's really good. Warm water now. No, it's a cold weather. Oh, temperature is okay. Do you see that? We have to go a little deeper into ourselves. I don't know happiness at present. So, the mind by default looks for happiness, attachment, pleasure seeking in the objects of the world, I would say 1,000,000 times. Very fractional moment. I take a step, oh, there is no problem in my knees. Mind does not recognize the real self. Did you get it? And if I know the real self, then what happens? The mind always is absorbed into the real self, and we have. So I know and I do not know. If I do not know, then I am always a pleasure seeker. We will go to another verse. Now he gives an example. Simple example. Sometime you are muted, the lips are moving, and I'm not listening. Huh? You're saying something, you're conveying your experiences, but I'm not listening. I do not know what you are saying. Sometimes you know I'm speaking, still you do not know. That is the problem happens in realizing that real self. This is what the master says. But we will get an example. So he gives an example. He says what is happening. There are 15 kids singing. There is a chorus singing. Father knows his son is also singing. Still, he does not know the singing voice of his son. Now, he's giving an example. Are you clear about this? I've talked about this in a couple of sessions. There are 10 kids in a school, they are singing all together. Father is also sitting. The father does not know the singing voice of his son because it's a group singing. Clear? So what it means? He knows the son is singing. He does not know the voice of the son. The father sees his son singing but does not taste the singing separately. Are you getting it? What prevents the father not to hear the singing of his son separately? What is preventing? Still, he knows the movement of the lips. The father does not listen due to master says due to an obstruction. Oh, what a great mouse this is. I just got it. Previous mouse. So now you see, pleasure is here. What is preventing me not to experience the permanent happiness of the real self? Incomplete knowledge. I do not know. I know the sun is singing, but still I do not hear the separate voice of my son. He knows the sun is singing, and still he does not know clearly. Are you clear? No, I understood. The real self is there. You have already told me. You have repeated n number of times. But where is that happiness? So he gives that example. So now he further in the 13th verse, he explains what is an obstacle that prevents that real self to be known, that permanent happiness is to be known. What is that obstacle? What is that impediment? What is that obstruction? I'm already experiencing happiness. In what? In eating a food. Eating food is one thing of my choice, but it is preventing me to know my real self. Am I clear? No worries, even if you're not clear. I'll continue to pick up these verses in a different way so first thing, because my mind is experiencing the pleasure outside in an object, in an event, in a thing, it is preventing me to recognize the real self. It is preventing me to be aware of the real self, which is present here. Like the sun is present in a group. Like the sun is present in a group. All are singing. Father is also looking at the movement of the lips of the sun, but he knows he is singing, but still he does not know. Are you clear? He knows, still he does not know. He knows, still he does not know. So the master gives you a clue that we know, still we do not know. And that is an obstacle. Concealment is the first problem. It is hiding is the first problem. That real self is hidden behind. It is only responsible for happiness in any situation, in any condition. Why? We have already covered what we have covered, that there is no object or a person whose property is happiness in the world. Do you remember? So it is hidden. And second is that this mind becomes the pleasure seeker instantly, starting from eating the food, looking into the mirror, wearing a particular cloth, waking up, mind says it's a good morning, I feel happy, and from 1 million times, this mind every day picks up instantly because of its habit, because of its obsession, because of its likes, because of its attachment. So, until this mind becomes the seeker, it cannot reach to that state. Now, yeah, then I will come back. So, in the 14th verse, I have taken four verses 11, 12, 13, and 14. The 14th verse, it says the ignorance obstructs the realization of permanent happiness in us. That obstruction, in case of this example, is a chorus singing. 10 people are there. So, mind meets millions of objects, people, things instantly. The moment you wake up, what do you see? You see your bed, you experience the temperature of the room, huh? You see, even, you feel, oh, sometime your mind says, oh, bed, I bought, purchased this mattress is very good. Huh? You look at it. Are you aware? Are you becoming aware of that? The moment we wake up, this mind is exposed to hundreds of objects. They all together creates a sense of pleasure, which we claim as a happiness that hides the real self. It's not a long sentence, but I make it clear. Sometimes we need a long sentence. You see that to make us understand. I see the camera, my Logitech, and then the light, and then I close the door. You see, close the door and the space. I'm looking at you. It creates the mind says, "Oh, here is the happiness." Why you are looking for the real self? It is hiding. It is hiding. Initially, we were thinking that, okay, waker, sleeper, and the dreamer, I'm none of them. And behind the three mental states of sleeping, waking, and added all the three states, there is a real self that never changes. We also understood that happiness is not the property of any object, any person, anything in the world. But I'm happy. So the master proves that there's happiness coming from the real self. Oh, I have understood it, but I don't realize. So now he is answering why we don't realize because of ignorance. So that ignorance working at the two level. I see that sun is singing, lips are moving, but I cannot claim that if the sun is really singing because it is mixed up with the 10 people. So my pleasure is mixed up with the millions of objects because of my habit. Did you get it? Now, if the chorus drops, so the sun also stops singing. So there is a problem. I like a particular food. I like pasta, but there is no pasta. It's not easy, but it's easy. Oh, we have to contemplate and reflect again and again. See another situation. See the another situation. That is my master used. Suppose the father is standing at the back of the class. Then he would not see his son's face. Then he would say, "Oh, he is not here." Even if someone comes along and points out the son, he is seen to open his mouth. The father says, "No, I cannot hear him." If someone tells the father, "Oh, look at this, here your son is there," but I don't hear. Hidden. Are you getting it? Hidden. It is only because of ignorance. It is only because of ignorance. And that ignorance, first part, that my mind is a pleasure seeker. I am not a perfect seeker. It is obstructing. My mind's intellect says, I have understood, but mind says, I'm enjoying the pleasure outside. The sun's voice or sun singing is is an example that there is a permanent happiness of the self. Now, we are going again deeper into understanding. But there is a chorus singing, so I'm not able to listen. The father is not able to listen. I eat pasta. What is, the sauce? There are different sauce, so you like one sauce in the pasta. So now happiness, first step of the happiness in the pasta, that I like pasta, hence pasta is served to me. But now another issue. A particular sauce is there and I'm eating that. Oh, yes, I enjoy that. Now I look at you, yes, yes, I like you. I'm happy to be with you. You see that? But you are happy with me in what sense? Name and the form, body. I'm using the different examples to make you understand this clearly. I'm sitting on my chair, that's good. I'm comfortable. The mind says, here you are happiness. Forget about the real self. It is hidden. Do you see that? I'm sitting beside the honey. That makes me happy. So that mind is distracted. That distraction causes the real self to hide. It is not hidden. Sun is already there. Sun is singing. Everything is clear. Not clear. That is the biggest challenge to the mind. The presence of ignorance. Ignorance means not knowing the real self. The mind starts running at different places with the different objects, and it says, I'm okay, I'm happy, I'm listening to you, but I do not experience that permanent happiness at all, which is located within me, and I continue my life in ignorance all the time. If I don't find the happiness in the pasta, let me find another food, the third and the fourth. I don't feel happy wearing this. Let me find out another thing. I'm not happy with this car, with this house, and the mind continues its journey. Even this teacher is crazy, so let us find another teacher. Mind can imagine anything. No worries. I told you before. No worries if you did not understand. If you understand, you are already there. If you understand, you are already there. First thing, in the last sessions, I'm repeating it again and summarizing. We have understood that real self is ECV, existence, consciousness, and bliss. We have ruled out all the doubts by saying that the world has no property of peace and happiness. Do you remember I gave you an example of the sweetness of a sugar? You put it anywhere, everywhere. It is sweet all the time. So that real self is placed in any situation, in any condition, in any relationship, in any event. The nature of the real self is of the nature of permanent peace and happiness. You have to contemplate and reflect. Now, I'm very happy to eat this food. I'm happy to wear this. Instantly, I should become aware. If I'm not aware, the mind will say, now, then I will hijack you into the ignorance. Are you getting it? Look at this master, the way he puts everything logically. He said, you understand it clearly. You move into that awareness, and you know you have discovered that you are in the state of permanent peace and happiness. That is why I say it is a non practice. So in the next verse, he gives an example that it's a chorus singing. His son is also there. He is also setting. He sees the sun, but he is not able to make out whether his son is singing or not. But it's a chorus. It's a mixed singing. It's a mixed pleasure. That's why we say it is a pleasure. It is not permanent happiness. Look at the Terry. On a given day, if body doesn't move, then she says, I'm very happy. Look at it. Look at it. So he gives an example that I know my son is there. I know the lips of the son is moving. Perhaps he is singing, but perhaps there is a doubt. That doubt in the intellect prevents me to recognize the real self as well. No, I'm getting a happiness by eating this, by doing this, by talking to you, and millions of events every day. The mind forgets. Forgetfulness is ignorance. What it forgets, that I am the real self, that I am the existence, consciousness, and bliss. That is why the Buddha says, what is mindfulness? If you understand closely the word that he used in the seventh of the Eightfold Noble Path, the seventh of the Eightfold Noble Path, that the phrase is used as samyak smriti. Samyak means right, and the smriti means the memory. I forgot myself. I forgot my real self. So remembering, recalling, being aware of that real self is the journey of mindfulness and meditation. That is the essence. What is the essence means? It is essential. What we pick up the urgent and claim it is an essential. Listen to it, and then I'll pick up each verse again and again until you are clear. So after the journey, we'll have questions. So eyes are closed. Body is steady. Mind is looking inside. We will follow what we discussed just now. If the body is steady, then you say, yes, I'm okay, I'm with you. And if the body is not steady, you say,